Alright guys, so moving right along to our next Patreon request of the night, and this one comes from Luke Morehouse. And Luke Morehouse asked me to do a Patreon request involving a crossover between Danny Phantom and Highschool DXD. Now, I am a fan of Highschool DXD, but not for the reasons you think. It's actually a cool story. It's really fan servicey, though. I'm not gonna lie. I swear I watch it for the plot. I swear to God. Oh, there's nothing I can say that convince anyone otherwise. Anyway, so yeah. But as always, before we get started with these Patreon requests, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, hope you all enjoy this, and yeah, let's get started with the video. So, this Patreon, this crossover begins in Japan. It starts in Japan, and Reyes Gremory. Reyes is leader of the cult club, and she has found something. Basically, she's found something that has upset her. It's something that's a upsetting note on her behalf. That upsetting thing is actually is basically that she's heard news that there is kind of a power shift between heaven and hell. There's a bit of a there's kind of a power shift going on in heaven and hell, because there's an area that both are trying to vie for. Both are really trying to vie control over this one space. And what is this one space? It is the Ghost Zone. And the Ghost Zone is it's kind of like the best way to describe it in this war between heaven and hell is that the Ghost Zone is kind of like the Japanese islands in World War II, where the Americans would keep using them as a stepping stone closer to Japan. So this is more like, if someone gets control of the Ghost Zone, they can have a little closer access. If heaven gets it, they're closer to hell. They can have a staging point to launch an attack on hell, and if hell gets it, then they have a staging point on heaven. So obviously Reyes is kind of trying to get into hell's favor. Because what it is that, yeah, she's the daughter of Gremory, which is a demon lord of the Seven Circles. Excuse me, of the Nine Circles. So Gremory is heard distressing news that the war, this conquest for the Ghost Zone hasn't really been going in hell's favor. Now, obviously, they've been dealing on Earth. Her and her group, Issei and the rest of them, have been battling it out with fallen angels. But it's becoming very clear that it's becoming quite clear that the war for, the war for heaven and hell is it's needed. It's becoming clear that the war on Hell's End is not going well. So Reyes proceeds to have she's going to go fly it alone to see if she can assist, because she believes if they can access the Ghost Zone, then it's kind of a tipping point in hell's favor. Now, meanwhile, while this is going on, Danny is exploring deeper into the Ghost Zone. Sam, and Tucker are exploring further and further into the Ghost Zone with each passing day. The reason being is because Danny's getting stronger, and he believes that he needs to use his power responsibly, and by figuring out where all of his enemies live, so he can have a better note, he can keep a track on them. However, he has kind of noticed something different in the Ghost Zone. That being that he's been seeing a lot of war damage. He's been seeing a lot of damage around the Ghost Zone, like swords littered everywhere, and burn marks, slashes. Like there's been these these skirmishes, and ghosts have been getting it caught in the crossfire. It isn't until like he goes to see Frostbite and the other Far Frozen that Frostbite tells him that, you know, outside parties are trying to vie for control in the ghost zone, and he tells him about it's literally heaven and hell. Now Danny doesn't Danny's kind of like in this headcanon he's agnostic, because he's like, yeah, I would imagine there's a heaven and hell because I deal with ghosts, so obviously there's a fucking afterlife. But the difference is that Danny lives in a world of science as well, because of his parents are scientists. So Danny is, like I said, an agnostic, and he doesn't really have a lot of love for God, because he's like, if God was so all-powerful, why didn't he stop why do I have to clean up it feels like I have to clean up God's messes half the damn time. And not to say, like, he's Team Satan or whatever, but he does see that, like, the ghost zone is getting caught in the crossfire in this war between heaven and hell. So Danny goes out to try to stop this, and that's when he sees a battle between angels and demons, a full-out fight between angels and demons, leading to him to jump into the fight and try to break it up. It's also, that's when Reyes shows up, and Reyes believes that Danny's trying to fight on the side of angels because she's heard about Danny Phantom, this hero, so he's she's thinking, oh god, heaven got him on their side. So Reyes jumps in, Reyes and Danny do battle, and during the fight, it's revealed that, like, these angels that they're fighting against are fallen angels, and these ones are trying to conspire to get the ghost zone, not to help heaven, but more like to have a staging point for their uprising against heaven, and then they'll have access to both heaven and hell, like a good staging point to attack from heaven and hell. So Danny and Reyes more or less, like, they bury the hatchet and travel to battle the renegade angels. So while they're talking, Danny is like, what are you exactly? And she's like, I'm the daughter of Reyes is like, I'm the daughter of a very powerful demon lord and class president of the occult science club. And she's like, and Danny's like, hell of a club. All we have is chess club in our school. Then they run, as they're fighting their way through, various fallen angels, it's revealed that the one behind this attack was Azazel, the fallen angel. And Azazel is just kind of like, yeah, I want to use this to use the Phantom Zone, the Ghost Zone, not Phantom Zone, the Ghost Zone, as a staging point for if I can claim this, then I can have easy access to heaven and hell, and I can just clean the board slate once I get ghosts on my side. But Reyes and Danny, despite their differences, do battle with Azazel, and as they're fighting, Danny and Reyes just keep colliding with Azazel and his power. He's one of the fallen angels. He's one of the most powerful fallen angels, and it isn't until Danny unleashes all of his power and Reyes uses all of her power. They just were like, we have to combine strength all at once, and Danny's like, got it. So they just fire everything they have and knock him out and just take him off the board entirely. Unfortunately, that leaves Reyes nude, and she's like, I need to recharge my strength. May I sleep with you? And Danny's like, I have a girlfriend. I totally. Can you cover yourself, please? I am happy. I am happy. I have a girlfriend. So Reyes is just buck-ass naked. She's like, oh, fair enough. I'll just go back and sleep with Issei. Goodbye. And flies off, and that's when Sam and Tucker show up, and Sam's like, so, who the fuck was that you were with? Gotta go. And just flies off. So there you go, guys. There's your Danny Phantom High School DXD crossover. Once again, I'd like to thank Luke Morehouse for this Patreon request and continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.